guys, I've got a blow motor down here on the apron back there.
Test. Hello and welcome to tonight's Daytona 225 miles set for tonight, 90 laps. Again, Daytona International Speedway. RSR Full Throttle Cup Series, sponsored by Gary Mercer Trucking, presented by MW Productions. I'm Michael Keaton up in the booth tonight. With me, Evan Pasoko, and on pit road, Jimmy North for the first time tonight in the race number 1 of a 32 race season. And tonight, again, Daytona Speedway. What do you think, Evan?
These guys are going to be kicking off this 2014 campaign. The World Center Racing, guys, Daytona. We're going to put out these Gen 6 cars out there on that racetrack. Restrictor plate racing, always going to be exciting. 90 laps on the board for this evening's event. Should be nothing but a wild show to see who gets away with this win.
And of course, when we come to Daytona, it's really anybody's ball game. And of course, joining us tonight on pit road, Jimmy North. Jimmy, just quickly about pitting here tonight. You know, tires aren't that big of an issue, but let's talk some strategy here. What's these guys thinking tonight?
Well, I've been walking up and down pit road. A lot of guys have been thinking about, between 30, 40 laps making a pit stop, and I've heard some guys stretching it maybe even a little bit more, but general consensus is that between 30 and 40 laps you'll see these guys start peeling off onto pit road, and it's going to be quite interesting to see as to how many guys are going to pit at once. If we're going to see what we saw in the actual Daytona 500 last night, for example, you know, you see 2, 3, 4 guys peel off, head into the pits, or you'll see a big group of cars, and you have to watch out for incidents as well.
And Evan, let's talk about exiting, you know, turn 4, and Jimmy chime in here too about this. That's what's critical. You know, if these guys have to take that green flag pit stop coming out of 4, if there's 2 guys coming in like you were mentioning, Jimmy, if there's 6 or 7 trying to come in, how important and how, you know, vital is it for these guys to come off 4, get down in the pit road, and get woed up in time, not get a speeding penalty, Evan?
Well, it's going to be key. I mean, these guys are going at access and right there around 200 miles an hour coming off the corner. Now, Daytona is known for yellow, so one would think you're going to be entering the pit lane under the yellow flag most of the time. But if we do see that green flag come out, or rather green flag stay out, we have to make some green flag pit stops once these guys start to get close on that fuel that Jimmy was talking about. You got to get that thing woed down, especially like he said. If you're coming down with some other guys, somebody goes in a little bit more hot than you, it can get real close. You got to woe that thing down to 55 miles an hour. And we're taking a look, one driver of the Nine Machine, Bobby Terrell, in the Joey Jattina Racing Machine. He's actually practicing green flag pit stops right now.
And Jimmy, just to touch base a little bit more, you know, if there was a caution to come out, you know, 10 laps into this Daytona race here tonight, or 15 laps into the race tonight, do the guys come down pit road early, or do they stay out and chance that extra fuel mileage maybe and come down and get this thing to the halfway point?
I think you see a lot of guys just kind of come in and pit and just top off the tanks. Yeah, you probably won't see much of any tire strategy at that point. And, you know, it's a freshly repaved track, and yeah, I just don't see the guys taking any tires. They'll probably come down for a splash of fuel and then head back out. There might be some guys at the back of the pack that want to, you know, ride up front for a little bit. You know, they might take the chance, but I'm leaning towards that a lot of guys are just going to take fuel and head on back out.
And speaking of recently paved track, Evan, 2.5 miles around the Daytona International Speedway, 90 laps tonight. And Daytona is one of those special tracks, especially on a night like tonight. Race 1, the Daytona 225, also an M100 race. So that means some money's involved here. If they win tonight and win another M100 race, we could see some money being thrown out. But again, Daytona International Speedway, a track that goes all the way back to some prestige racing.
Yeah, this track broke ground way back in 1957, and such a historic racetrack. You talk about recently paved, you could say. It's been a couple of years at this point. It is an asphalt surface, 2.5 miles in length. That banking up there, it's big. It's almost at 4 stories tall when you're up there. It doesn't look like it when these guys are going around it on the racetrack, but that is intimidating. 4 turns, obviously, 31 degrees of banking. It's 18 degrees in the tri-oval, guys. That's almost like a 5th turn because it's so banked there. It's going to be a great race, and this track, again, just always provides such a great show.
Just to throw out some drivers here tonight in the race here, we got Chad Cole, last year's winner of the 2013 Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series. And, of course, John Higman Jr. back for a little bit more. Jose Gonzalez also joining the mix. Aaron Grosskopf going to run the full season this year as well. Nathan Bowers, Stevie Herron. A lot of guys here that we've seen. John Abbott, John Wilco. A lot of these guys are just the usual type racers. Now, a new guy here, Thomas Aaron. I had a chance to talk with him before the race, starting row 4, guys. You know, the field's already been set. The duels have been won. R.J. Williams and Gottschalk's going to lead this field off to the green tonight. But, you know, Thomas Aaron here, you know, a guy who comes in, a rookie, I guess, if you will, Evan, with the yellow stripes on the back. 4th row here. You know, is it gutsy to say that rookies can win the Daytona 225?
Oh no, you talked about it at the top of the show, and that is anybody can walk away with this victory easily. That's just a part of restrictor plate racing. Now, you don't have the scenario where you got teams that have more money into their cars. Everybody's out here with an even car. But if you're a rookie, you want to make a statement, you could definitely get it done this evening, starting up there on that 4th row. It's easily possible. You talk about guys like Chad Cole. Chad Cole not only walking away with the 2013 Full Throttle Cup Series Championship, but also walked away with the 2013-2014 Icebreaker Winter Series Championship as well. So that's 2 major championships going to go back-to-back for Chad Cole, and I'm sure he won't mind to get this season kicked off in the right direction and be looking for another one.
Another guy I'd like to mention out tonight's race, starting here, the 50-year-old out of Penske, Orlando, the Rhinestone man, Glenn Campbell, that Penske machine that he always runs here in that 44 machine. You know, those guys right there that's been around for the league some time, like Glenn Campbell, glad to have him out here tonight. Another guy, Douglas Wyatt, the 41-year-old out of Dexter, Michigan, part of that Fearless Racing team. You know, that's something that's really special, is that Fearless Racing team. And with that said, we're going to take a quick break, take you to the promo video, and then it's going to be the national anthem. You're watching the Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series live on MW Productions. And welcome back to Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series, sponsored by Gary Mercer Trucking and presented by MW Productions. Again, the Daytona International Speedway set for 90 laps. And the grid has been set. Last week the duels took place, and the man who won it is sitting on the pole, R.J. Williams, and outside him is going to be Steve Gottschalk. And a couple of the DNQs tonight, Brian, Doug Manning, Kevin Linden, and John Milwane were failed to qualify for tonight's race. And subbing tonight for the Daytona 225, Joseph Hayes will be subbing for the Navy Nuke Eric Arnold, and Sam Edwards for Here Comes Bobby Terrell. Evan, we're getting set here to go green. The folks are finishing up their practice runs here. Speaking of practice runs, man, look at the fastest lap in practice, Chad Cole with a 44.037.
Yeah, that is a fast time. The second fastest time is Matt Lacrosse's number 21 machine, so you got to assume him and the 821 were working together up front. I mean, the third fastest time, so if you ignore those two, is over a tenth of a second behind these guys. That doesn't sound like a lot, but at Daytona, it definitely counts for a lot of distance. I mean, we talk about these kind of races, and unlike the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, you guys can bump draft in these cars a lot more effectively, similar to what you could do in those COT machines. Now, one thing we got to keep an eye on this evening is the fact that this is 90 laps and this is a restrictor plate race. And I mean, we got to look forward. I mean, these guys have been off. I mean, they've been doing the Icebreaker Winter Series, but this is what they've been waiting for. They're getting ready to get going. They have to remember to kind of have to stay patient here in the opening laps of this thing. And again, you got to survive to the end if you want to make it there. And I'm sure everybody walks away in victory lane when it's all said and done at Daytona. But you got to keep in mind that even though this is the first race of the season, it is the first race of the season. You can't be going real crazy. Now, when you get down to the 5 laps, don't try to tell any of them that. But I think you're going to have to try to look for a little bit of strategy in these opening laps to try to make it to those closing maybe 25 laps, and then's when you have to make your move.
Yeah, and speaking of race 1, you mentioned everybody wanting to win it. Hey, if you win it, you're in it. You know, part of the new point system here, the Real Sim Racing gang is taking the same approach as the NASCAR circuit did with the new rule change of the qualifying into the the chase race. So if you win it tonight, you're in it. So R.J. Williams going to take us from the pole here tonight again to the outside. Steve Gottschalk, row number 2, Evan.
Going to be Rich Jett starting on the inside of that second row, and Matt Lacrosse going to be rolling off in P4.
Rolling off in the third row tonight, Eric Brundys. To his outside, the man, C.J. LaVere.
Got to take a look at row number 4, 7th starting position, Thomas Aaron. Outside of him, no rookie to this, it's Guy Snyder, starting 8th.
Fastest in practice, row number 5, Chad Cole. To his outside, Sam Edwards.
Row 6, the 11th starting position, you got Jason White. Chad Schilling going to take up P12.
Nathan Little going to roll off in the next row in 7. And the man who's subbing for Eric Arnold tonight, Joseph Hayes, will roll off beside him.
How about Joey Gattina going to be starting in the 15th position? One of the top admins here, you could say, at Real Sim Racing, announcing very recently some exciting news for his plans in ARCA for this 2014 campaign. But he's going to kick it off with RSR at Daytona this evening. And Scott Brotherton also going to be starting alongside him on his outside in the 16th spot.
Row number 9, Nathan Bowers. Man putting up part of the sponsorship for this year's events, Brennan Mercer.
Behind them, you got Brandon Peterson going to be starting in the 19th position, and rounding out the top 20 going to be Pete Zanieri.
J. Randall Watkins bringing in row 11 with Scott Simley to the outside.
How about Aaron Grosskopf going to be starting position number 23, and good old Rhett McBride 24th.
13th row, Thomas J. George, and to his outside, Scott Stencil.
Behind them, 27th position going to belong to Jason Lester, and John Abbott starting 28th.
Doug Roth going to roll off in the number 5 machine tonight. John Wilco in the 62 to his outside.
We talked about him earlier. Jose Gonzalez back yet for another season here, going to be starting in position number 31, and John Langley going to be on his outside in P32.
60 car, John Hickman Jr., and the 11, the Air Force Cadet, Jonathan Cadell.
Brian Harvey going to be starting P35. Glenn Campbell in the 36 spot.
Mark Bratcher in the 17 car rolls off 37. 38, Douglas Wyatt.
Adam Roberts going to be rolling off 39th, and 40th is Keith Brooks Jr.
Mike Montesi will be in the 45 car tonight. To his outside, the 83 of Jay Horton.
Rounding out the field at the very back of the pack, the last car, position number 43, is going to be Stephen Herring.
And there you have it, folks. 43 drivers, all fighting for the championship, the 2014 Crown Jewel here. The Full Throttle Cup Series is 2 turns away from going green. 90 laps, Evan. It's been a long time coming, but it's finally here.
Oh, and they know it. They're getting ready on this warm-up lap. They're moving side to side, not because they're trying to heat up their tires. They're just ready to get going, man. They've been tired of sitting still. They've had, a couple things that they can do in the offseason, but this is what they've been waiting for, and it's about to kick off at a turn 4.
The pace car drifting ever so slightly to the left, about to take the famous left-hand turn down into the pit road, and R.J. Williams will lead this green flag start of 43 drivers to start the Daytona 225.
The green flag is out. It is the 2 machine of R.J. Williams going to get out to an early lead. 36 machine of Rich Jett able to get to him on the inside lane. Those two single file for the first, second, and spots. Third place side by side as the 91 machine of Steve Gottschalk starts to slide back. 21 machine Matt Lacrosse going to get around him for 4th.
And now really, Evan, it's where's my teammate, or who can I work with for the moment being? Because these guys qualified, with the duel, so no one really knew how to qualify, where your teammate was going to qualify. Should we start in the back? What do we do? These guys are having to race with guys, team up with guys that they're not used to teaming up with. We've had the off season again, and a good start so far. Lap 1 will be completed here. Green flag still at Daytona, and again, finding that partner.
They got to get hooked up here. They just want to ride. They want to knock off some laps and just kind of get back into a rhythm, get comfortable before they really start going at it. You see everybody starting the single file out at the front of the field. Nobody really locked up, though, and pushing quite yet. You see the top 2 cars, the 2 machine of R.J. Williams, 36 machine of Rich Jett is on his back, forward down the back straightaway rather, but they're not staying locked up in the turns. They're just trying to ride around a little bit, not going to force the issue early on in the going here. Side by side is going to occur for P11, Chad Schilling in the 35 machine outside with the 31. Chad Schilling going to pull in line. That's going to leave Joseph Hayes all alone on the top.
And just behind them, you will see another wide battle shaping up with Nathan Bowers, the 03 down low, now working underneath the 31 machine of Joseph Hayes. Mercer looks like he'll tag up with that Chevy there as they go down into turns 2. Again, kind of a lot of single file action here. Hey, Joseph may be trying to find his drafting partner here, Evan. It's really critical that you find somebody that you're used to drafting with, because taking that line is so important. You want the low lane with one guy, and one guy wants to go high. So as we go 3 wide here, and 3 for the first time tonight at Daytona.
Yeah, a lot of these guys just trying to get sorted out. We are 3 wide way back here around the 25th spot, still 3 wide. Coming out off the corner, it's the 42 machine on the inside of that. That's Scott Stenzel. He's able to pull down in line as they continue to try to sort themselves out in the early laps here. And again, 43 cars, that's the max that this sim is going to allow you. Some of these guys might just want to get to the back because that is a lot of cars. And if anything were to happen when everybody's grouped up like this, coming off a green flag or a restart, it could get ugly. So again, strategy, maybe dropping back to get a teammate, dropping back to stay out of the mess. We have a couple of drivers that are already 31 seconds behind through the trial. The last 2 cars, 44 of Glenn Campbell, 37 of John Langley, running way back from our leaders as they just go now into turns number 1 and 2. Our leaders are coming into the trial.
Yeah, and another thing, you said it, plain as day, 43 drivers could only make the field. 53 drivers, 10 more that can make the field, were signed up to race, and 10 had to go home, of course, one of those being Brian Bayview, Doug Manning, Kevin Linden, John Milwane, and I had a chance to talk to Ed Williams Jr., before the race started tonight, another guy who did not attempt to go to the duels, couldn't quite make the trip down, but another guy just sitting out, you know, Evan, out of a race here with a 32 race season, and you got to win one to get in, and you got to be in the top so many point standings to get into the chase race. So this could be a little interesting, having to miss his first race.
Yeah, but it almost might take a little bit off of it because he does not have the pressure of missing all the points from this. Yeah, it is going to happen, but you mentioned they're trying to make this as true to the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, which this whole series, its schedule, its rules are based off of. As you see, they continue to run single file at the time being. So doing the change with the points, if you get a win, you're pretty much locked in to that chase. I just can't wait till we get down to those eliminations, but that's 26 races down the road from right now. A little bit of side-by-side going on. 27 machine of Guy Snyder took a look to the upside briefly, able to pull back in line now behind the 93 of Thomas Aaron. No, but again, if you're just going for wins, you see, and I think they're doing a real good job at this point, at least, at being patient, just riding around single file. We do have a little bit of two wide back in the pack, and this is that 29 machine of Brendan Mercer. We've seen him on the outside lane. He's continuing to try to work forward, but I think these guys have the right mindset for this point in the races. That is just try to survive, log some laps, maybe they get to a green flag pit stop that we discussed at the pre-race show, and then they go from there.
And I want to bring into a new prize type race here tonight. This is an M100, basically a Mercer 100 type race. It's the Prestige race, and there's 4 different races where these guys can pick up some bonus money. Who doesn't love money? And if a driver wins 2 of the following races we got tonight, the Prestige race at Daytona, May 19th, the Charlotte 260, that's the longest race of the year. The Brickyard 175 going to be raced on July 28th. That's the historic venue race. And the Talladega, my home state, 224 October 20th, the fastest race of the event. If you win 2 of those following races, $50. If you win 3, you'll win $100. And I tell you what, last year, 2013 year, Chad Cole won 3. I think Chad Cole won even more than 3. So it can be done.
Yeah, definitely. Chad Cole, obviously coming off of that championship, walked away with, I believe it was 9 wins in that season when it was all said and done. So he's going to be one to contend with again this season. I mean, we saw 3 wide, and it seems to be the 29 machine of Brendan Mercer with the series title sponsor, Gary Mercer Trucking, on his number 29 Chevrolet that's trying to get something going, Michael. We've seen him, and he's on the outside lane right now. You see he's pushing with that 42, and you see how much faster he is than the inside lane, because guys on the inside, they aren't pushing yet. You see the 29, the 42, they're going to hook up here down the back straightaway, and they're going to get going here, and that 29 machine of Mercer is really trying to advance his position. He did not get the greatest finishing position in his duel. He started this race 18th, running right now at a racetrack 17th, so got shuffled back on the initial start of the race, but he is the first car off of that outside lane back here in the pack, trying to get stuff done. However, it looks like side by side is shaking up in the front of the field. 36 of Rich Jet wants to lead the lap.
And he's got the 94 machine of Eric Brundy's right behind him in the Ford Fusion, but can't quite keep it on the back door. And let's go down to Jimmy North. Talking about temps here, we just saw Eric Brundy's pull out the back rear there of the 36 machine of Rich Jet. Talk to us about it, Jimmy.
All right, I'm back, guys. I've been up down pit road here, and everybody's talking strategy already. But just want to make a note that there was about 3 guys here, the 44 Glenn Campbell, the 37 of John Langley, and the 41 Nathan Little. They missed the start, and they're all running pretty close to the tail end of the field here.
Yeah, and sometimes, Evan, that could be a good thing. You know, you never know when that wreck's going to happen at Daytona. We could have went green the next lap. These guys could have shuffled it up front there, and the guys that missed the start could come out and actually gain in that position. But you know, with it being a Daytona-type race like this, the first race of the year, it's not so bad just hanging out in the back. But as you mentioned, 31 seconds earlier, now make that 33 seconds off the field, and they're having to do it with a 3-car Tango, which is pretty difficult.
Yeah, unlike the tandem, you can't have 3 cars stay bumper to bumper, and if you try it, the guy in the middle of that can easily just get shot out of line. So if there was 2 of them, they could kind of hook up, make their swaps, and be able to be pretty comfortable. But we talked about it, you said it there now, 33-second differential between him or that group of cars and the leader. That means that it's 11 seconds from the back of those guys to where the leaders are on the racetrack right now. Now, the leaders are not closing in on them extremely quick because they're just riding around right now. But at the same time, they were going to be in trouble to lose a lap if a yellow flag flies trouble on the track.
Yeah, the yellow is out, and it's really going to be brought out by the 68 of Scott Simley and the 78 machine. Excuse me, the 29 machine of Brennan Mercer is going to get into the back of the 68, but just ahead of that is really where the chaos started. But the actual caution right there with Scott Simley and the 68. And Evan, you were just talking about Brennan.
Yeah, he was being real aggressive and also calm, too. He was trying to get that outside lane to work. And this incident's going to be started with the 12 of Pete Zernieri. And he was in the corner, got a little bit of a stack up, and the 77 got into his back end. They were able to save it. Brennan Mercer gets out into the outside wall, trying to get around those guys as the 12 and both 77 pick up the damage down there on the inside. Mercer ends up in the wall trying to get around it, ends up hooking that 68 machine. 68 loses the engine, goes for a wild ride. He is pretty much done. 10 machine going to get some damage, and Brennan Mercer's machine smoking heavily, and that team, the hood is up down there on the pit lane. Not looking good for Brennan Mercer, and he was looking strong. He was looking aggressive. He wanted to get things going. Fortunately, he's out. We're going to now go down the pit road. Jimmy North, they're coming your way.
Holy smokes, I tell you, that was a big wreck, guys. Trying to catch up Scott Simley here very shortly. He's in the garage area. And looks like a lot of the guys are going to be making their pit stop here. As they come down pit road, it looks like a lot of the guys are going to be taking probably 2 right side tires and fuel. Just enough time to take 2 rights with the amount of fuel that they need to pack that fuel cell with.
Yeah, I was about to say, Evan, 13 laps into the race, right sides maybe, fill it up with gas. About the time that you would take probably putting gas in it, you could probably put the right sides on it. And that's what we saw a lot of guys do. You saw LaVere take them, Lacrosse, R.J. Williams, right sides only.
Yeah, and several drivers are not going to hit the pit lane. R.J. Williams in the 2 machine, having that last pit stall for sitting on the pole, going to be the first one out of pit road. You got the 44 machine, Glenn Campbell, 43, Douglas Wyatt, 66, Brian Harvey, 26 of Jose Gonzalez, the 5 machine, Doug Roth, 17 of Mark Bratcher, and up at the front of the field right now, 27 machine, Guy Snyder, the 4th, did not come down the pit lane.
Yeah, and what a break for the guys, the 3-car Tango that was stuck back there, 41st, 42nd, and 43rd spot. Being down 33, 35 seconds, running 45 lap times versus the 44 lap times being ran by the leader. So big, huge break for them. And we're under the first caution of tonight. We're going to step aside, take a quick commercial break. You're watching Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series Race 1 of a 32-week-long series, sponsored by Gary Mercer Trucking and presented by MW Productions. We'll be right back. Welcome back, where we've just had the first caution of tonight at Daytona. Lap 14 has been completed, and the pace car getting ready to dive back down on the pit road for the second time. The man out front right now, the 27 Chevy of Guy Snyder. To the outside, Mark Bratcher in row 2, Doug Roth, and Jose Gonzalez out of Puerto Rico. Green flag back out for the second time. And looks like the 27 Guy Snyder gets a nice little restart there as we complete lap 15.
Yeah, Brendan Mercer not coming in under the yellow flag is going to open up a small lead. He's looking for the 5 machine of Doug Roth to get up to him, and real close side by side inside of the top 10 right off of this restart. 17 and a 26 machine. That's Bratcher and Gonzalez on the outside lane. They're pushing down the back trying to go to P1.
Side by side down the back stretch. A lot of double file action going on right now here as the nerves have started to kind of settle here as the 17 and 26 continue to work the outside in their tandem draft. Now to the bottom, the 66 of Harvey and R.J. Williams, post hitter, now move him up to 6th spot as they rocket down the front stretch to complete lap 16 at Daytona.
The 5 machine of Doug Roth is going to be pushing Guy Snyder to that lap lead. So 27 machine currently up at a number 1 spot. 17-26 still trying to get something going on the outside lane. They got the 66 machine. That's the Hot Wheels Chevrolet. That's Brian Harvey on the inside lane. Currently with no help. You're going to see the 2 machine though. R.J. Williams pull up behind him here and try to get going. Looks like that outside lane's got a little bit of a run down the back straightaway. Only problem is on that top lane, they're going to stall out. Once you enter the corner, you see they kind of get even with them. Just can't get past them. Over inside lane is not hooked out. Watch those guys on the top out of 4.
Continue to race side by side here for the lead. This is the most tight racing we've had up front here for the lead, Evan, as the leader that time by is being shown as the 27 of Guy Snyder still. I thought the 17 crossed it at the last second for the Ford's first time to lead a race tonight, but no sir, denied, as now that top line is going to be shuffled back as the 26 of Jose Gonzalez has to roll out of the throttle to let the oil pressure and water pressure get a little bit of relief.
Yeah, unlike on the initial drop of the green flag, these guys are bumper to bumper on the inside lane. 5 machine of Doug Roth is pretty much trying to stay glued to the 27 machine of Guy Snyder as they run right now. You're seeing the 17 of Mark Bratcher slide back his partner, 26 machine Jose Gonzalez, gonna now drop to the inside lane, but the 2 machine wants to go high. R.J. Williams is gonna jump out high, does the 17 machine of Mark Bratcher, try to draft up to him and get something going, as it's still Mercer into the corner. A little bit of a side-by-side for 3rd, and now side-by-side for what is going to be P4. Advantage to the 4 of C.J. Rivera, the inside lane. 2 tries to get in line, can't quite get it done.
Down the backstretch, single file, the leader, Guy Snyder, Doug Roth, Brian Harvey, and LeVere in the 4 machine here coming through Daytona. With a little bit of lap traffic ahead, that's John Abbott. Position 40 here in the 10 car, stuck on the outside, involved in that last wreck. And speaking of wreck, man, I tell you what, Brendan Mercer really took a shot into the wall there. Caution came out for the first time tonight, and Jimmy North was standing by with Brendan Mercer. Jimmy, talk to us, man.
All right, yeah, I'm down here in pit road, guys, with the 2019 Brendan Mercer. Brendan, what happened there under that yellow, man? It looked like it was a pretty wild ride. You want to give some details?
I mean, it is what it is. I was really looking forward to this race, practicing all week, and it just sucks. Just a huge letdown.
Yeah, the car looks like it's pretty well banged up. The crew's definitely investigating the damage, looking it over. Do you guys think you can be able to get back out there and maybe salvage something?
We're done. The engine's out. We're done.
All right, man. And what do you look forward to as far as going into Phoenix? Try and get out there and get a top 10?
Well, yeah, I'm going to need to put pressure on myself now to get up to top 30 in points. I mean, I've kind of dug myself a hole now, so hopefully we can get some top 10s now and just get ourselves into the chase. Nothing new to look forward now.
Alrighty, thanks much, Brendan. Appreciate you having an interview here. I know that everyone's kind of got some deep hearts down here in the 29 team. So hopefully you guys will have better luck next weekend.
Thanks.
And how about this, Evan? Look up front. Two teammates battling another pair of teammates. It's the JGR guys of Joey Cattina in the 14 and the 2 of RJ Williams. To the inside, the Fearless Racing Group, Guy Snyder and now Doug Roth, as that's now separated. And your new leader, RJ Williams, back out front.
Yeah, the 2 and the 14 now as we go around the lap traffic. Machine at 41 having some electrical problems on the outside lane. This could force 3 wide with these guys back here on the lead lap. It could be close through the corner. It looks like they're able to navigate it fairly smoothly. But oh yeah, the 14 machine of Joey Cattina and his teammate, the 2 machine of RJ Williams, and the Joey Cattina Racing machine sitting P1 and 2. Here comes some guys on the outside lane. This is the 21 of Matt Lacrosse, who has increased his ground significantly since the drop of the green flag, and he's making a run on the top lane with a shove from Douglas Wyatt.
And that was Nathan Little in the 41 machine going a lap down. As you said it, the 21 Lacrosse now, he'll lead tonight in that Fearless Racing Chevy with a 43 Retro Richard Petty. Sporting looking colors by Douglas Wyatt. There they go, down in front of the 2 machine of RJ Williams, new leader at Daytona.
Those guys are able to get it down and pull down into that inside lane now, and going through 3 off of 4 now towards the front straightaway. The Joey Cattina Racing machine's going to look to the outside lane. RJ Williams steps out. Joey Cattina's going to go with it, but a 14 machine, they're on the top lane trying to get something done after Matt Lacrosse leads that most recent lap as we're green right now. Lap number 23 and 90. Currently in the works, 2 of the 14 machine. Not quite hooked up right now as they go through turns number 1 and 2. Not going to get a big run down that back straightaway. Now they're going to try to hook up, make up some ground. They will do so because there is no pushing going on at the moment on that inside lane, but it's going to be tough to make that outside work because they got a big line of cars on that inside lane.
While these guys continue to run green flag racing here, 24 laps about to be completed. Daytona get ever so closer to the halfway finish point here. We want to look at the schedule here for the 2014 Full Throttle Cup Series. Of course, tonight, the Daytona 225, part of the M100 racing here tonight. Of course, all TV races will be broadcasted by NW Productions, and Michael Woodley doing a fantastic job down there running all the keys and buttons that it takes to produce this show here tonight. Of course, I'm Michael Keaton, Evan Pasoko up in the booth with me tonight, and as well on pit road for the first time, Jimmy North going back and forth down there. Jimmy, you get a lot of exercise down there on pit road?
Oh, you bet, man. I'm sweating like crazy. It's a nice, beautiful 78 degrees down here in Daytona. A little hot, a little concern coming out of the 27 camp about overheating. So we're kind of walking up and down, talking to some of the crew chiefs when we get a chance, when they're not busy up there. Trying to find out if some of these guys are starting to overheat a little bit due to the warmer temperatures that we're experiencing.
Yeah, and Evan, let's talk about the temperatures here at Daytona. Of course, you know, temperatures really doesn't matter at, per se, like California, Atlanta, stuff like that, unless you're really just trying to push the grill tape on the car. But at Daytona, man, talk about so important. And, you know, some guys in here watching the race tonight doesn't really understand the full dynamics of what the oil pressure is and what the water temperature is. Let's talk about the overheating.
You got an opening on the front of that race car, and you can choose how much tape you want to put on it now. But a fixed setup, it is a fixed amount of tape. So everybody's running the same tape this evening, but you're going to have to push. If you're pushing, you're locked up on the back of the car in front of you is the fastest way around the racetrack. However, look at the leaders right now. They're not necessarily pushing the entire time. Why? Because when you're on that back bumper, your car is not getting any fresh air into the nose of that machine, and your engine's going to get hot. You're going to start pushing water, and you can easily blow that engine. You can only go maybe 2 laps fully stuck on the car in front of you all the way around this racetrack before those temperatures start to get dangerously high. And in a 90-lap race, you want to keep them as cool as possible. Try to save as much as you can, so when it comes down to these last 3 laps or so, if you're racing the checkered, you can push that thing and it won't blow up.
Yeah, and kind of judging by the racing that's going on right now as these guys come around to complete lap 27, you would think that there's 5 to go. Look at them, Evan. Top 12 there, side by side all the way back to Scott Stitzel and Joey Cattina back in the 12th position. Car 14, double file. Look at them, beautiful as they exit turn 2.
It's the 5 machine of Doug Roth. He's going to lead that outside lane now, coming out of turn number 2 and out of back straightaway side by side. He is now with the 43 again. That's Douglas Wyatt in that petty blue Ford machine on the inside lane. 5 machine on the outside. Doug Roth, he's leading the outside charge. can't quite get anything done quite yet on race leader Matt Lacrosse in the 21. A couple guys hooked up behind the 5. The 66 of Harvey has some help from the 26 machine of Jose Gonzalez now as they go through the trioval to complete lap number 27. Just trying to ride around and keep it smooth. They are going too wide, but it's still pretty tame up at the front of the field compared to what we'll see later on.
39 drivers on the lead lap. The first guy being a lap down, John Abbott, 10 machine back at 40th. Nathan Little, 3 laps down. Brennan Mercer, we talked to him earlier with Jimmy North. He's 15 down, and joining also Brennan with 15 laps down is in 43rd position, the 68 of Scott Simley. But right now we've got a nice little battle here for the lead. 27 laps into the books, as you mentioned. Coming up on possible green flag pit stops. I don't know if these guys want to break it up or not, but only 90 laps, 45 will be the halfway point. And of course, it being the track like Daytona, right sides only, and especially where fuel really counts, you want to cram that fuel in there as much as possible, and that's part of the Daytona metrics.
Yeah, and those guys up on top of those pit boxes, the crew chiefs, they're going to want to make you stay out there as long as possible. And they'll get the calculators out, they'll push those numbers, and they'll have you stay in there for fuel as minimum as possible or as short of a distance as possible to try to get you right back out on the racetrack, as we are now side by side for P1 as the 5 machine of Doug Roth continuing to try to make his charge on the outside lane advantage to Lacrosse now off the corner. However, we got to remember about 7 drivers stayed out on that lap 13 incident at the opening of this race, so they're not going to be able to go as far as the rest of the pack. So if we don't get a yellow flag coming up maybe in about 10-15 laps, that could separate this pack into 2 different fuel strategies.
The man out of Mount Pleasant, Michigan, Matt Lacrosse, the 21 machine, 31 years old, still hanging on to the lead there at the backstretch. He's led about the last 4 or 5 laps of this race. Now the 5 machine gets a nice little push by the 66 of Fearless Racing, Brian Harvey. But the 43 car, who's been pushing Matt Lacrosse for the last 6-7 laps, pushes him back in front to the lead at Daytona.
Yeah, that inside lane is definitely going to be a beneficiary in these kind of scenarios until it comes down to the end. Once you get those guys up top pushing, and I mean really pushing, not letting off at all, as you see Harvey having a little bit of a gap right now to Doug Roth on the outside lane, it's going to be the inside with the advantage for the time being. And once the 21 feels a little bit of a threat from the outside lane, 44 of Wyatt gives him a little bit of a nudge, and they are good to go. You see the 5 machine Doug Roth, he's been trying to get there. He's got up to the 21, then he'll drop back to maybe the 3rd spot with the 26 machine of Jose Gonzalez is riding on the inside line. Now you see the 5 make up a little bit more ground now in 3 and 4. Kind of a game of chess or checkers here. Just trying to play some mind games. 5 machine trying to get something going to the outside lane. 21 machine Matt Lacrosse going to pick up another lap.
And folks, this is what big track racing like Daytona is all about. Side by side again, 32 laps into the books. These guys not letting anybody really get away quickly, and that's something that I thought was going to happen here tonight, Evan. I thought that they were going to tandem up. You're going to see some guys break out of the draft, but man, for the most part, these guys are staying side by side here. You remember the first couple of laps, everyone was single file. Look at this. Has the nerve started to wear off? Are these guys realizing, hey, the 2014 Full Throttle Cup Series is underway. I got to get moving.
Yeah, they did their best job at being patient, but these guys are race car drivers, man. They want to get going, and that's exactly what we're seeing. And this is still calm again. They are too wide, and anything could happen. I mean, the slightest miscalculation, any sort of error from any driver can cause big, big trouble here. Again, Daytona is a lot thinner than Talladega. You can go 3 wide. That's pushing it 2 wide. You can do fairly comfortably here, but again, you can't make a mistake if someone's riding on your door. Now, this is not lane to race, so the guys on the outside lane are not squeezing the guys on the inside down for the draft extremely. So, I mean, pretty tame right now, but they are going 2 wide, and that 5 machine of Doug Roth, I think if this was happening in those opening 5 last month, we might have seen him pull down in line, single file out, but he wants to stay dedicated to the outside lane. We've been side by side up here in the top 3 for what, 10 laps going now? They want to race.
Yeah, I tell you what, these guys have been around each other for a long time. You can just tell how they're racing. You got a couple of new guys in here, but for the most part, a lot of veteran real sim racing drivers in here. These guys know what they're doing. They know how to race each other. They're showing an amazing amount of talent here as they're still side by side, still struggling to find the lead is the blue and orange Auburn-looking car of the 5 of Doug Roth, as he's now maybe getting a little bit more of a run by Brian Harvey. He's there on the outside as the 43 has separated from Lacrosse, but not so fast, my friend. The 43 giving the 21 a nice little love tap coming into 4.
Yeah, now coming up off the corner, it is the 21 Lacrosse. You see, he goes out in front of the 5 blocks for a little bit, and this time by the stripe, the 5's going to put up an effort for it. It is still going to be Matt Lacrosse, but Doug Roth is there now side by side for the number 1 spot. Again, the outside lane, though, going to stall out into the corner. You see now the 21 is able to clear the 5 machine, and the 43 of Wyatt starts to creep up on him as well, but the outside lane benefits on corner exit. So it's almost like they're trading, and they got to make it as soon as possible and get everything they can out of it. Guys on the inside are pushing. The 66 of Harvey's going to give the 5 of Roth a shot. There they go on the top.
Harvey's going to have to back out of the throttle. The red limiter light was probably blinking there, Evan, as he just pushed and pushed until he just had to let off. But he gave the 5 the lead. The 5 going to stay up high and going to lead the Daytona 225 for his first time tonight. Give it to a Ford as they nearly sneak 3 wide down the front stretch. Not so fast. Matt Lacrosse back to the inside to the lead. And speaking of that, 36 laps have been completed. We're 10 laps away from the halfway point. Jimmy North with an update on pit road.
Yeah, guys, all the crew members down here getting ready, getting their helmets on, the gloves. They're getting the air guns fired up. We're going to expect to see some guys start feeling off to pit road here. Probably about the next 4 to 5 laps, maybe a little bit sooner. And let me tell you, business is going to pick up here, and this is where the crewmen really have to come into play and make sure that these guys get up in a 12, 13-second pit stop and get them back out on the track.
Yeah, Evan, this is the money stop, Evan. These guys are racing polished right now. 1 caution, and that was just because of a checkup up front, which led to another guy checking up. You know, so how important is this pit stop? Could this be the last pit stop tonight if this thing goes green?
You got to look at the guys that haven't hit the pit lane yet, and that includes, again, some of these guys that have been running pretty fast, though. The driver that stayed out and would evidently go to the number 1 spot is Guy Snyder. He did not pit. He's running right now in the 13th spot, so everybody else has about 10 laps on him, so they will be able to make it on 1 more stop. The 27 will be close. Again, 90 laps, 45 is the halfway point. If he needs to peel down because he has a little bit less fuel than these guys, he's going to have to try to save now. The way Daytona normally goes is a string of yellow flags at the end of it. That is your best opportunity to save fuel. So I think at this point, all those guys are going to try to make it on 1 more stop, and this will be the last time down pit lane, unless we all go under yellow there late in the race and everybody else decides to just come on in and top off, but that could also cause for some good strategy.
Last time by, another new leader, the man out of Puerto Rico. 26 car of Jose Gonzalez got the lead a lap. Now he'll work 6 lead changes. Jose will make the 6th lead change here tonight at Daytona, as now we've got another lead change, and that's going to be the 43 car of Douglas White. Can he lead tonight at Daytona as the 4 car of CJ Lavere closes in on the back rear deck lid?
Yeah, but CJ Lavere coming off to a rough end in his 2013 Full Throttle Cup Series campaign, running right now at the inside lane. 2nd car in the inside lane, scored in the 3rd spot that last time by 17 with a little bit of a wiggle up the track. That's Mark Bratcher. 5 machine has to get out of his way. That's Doug Roth, and it's going to be the guys on the top lane pushing. They're going to prevail. Matt Lacrosse gets help from the 26th of Jose Gonzalez. Lacrosse pulls down to the inside lane to go to the number 1 spot, and Gonzalez left out to dry. 5 machine of Doug Roth's going to pull up on his bumper through 3 and 4.
Coming to complete lap 39 here, inching ever so close to the halfway point here at Daytona International Speedway. You're watching the Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series, sponsored by Gary Mercer Trucking. This is an M100 event, so this one's for a little bit of cash. And also, again, if you win it, you're in it. Part of the new rule package here in the Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series. And in a minute, I want to try to go over a little bit of that, Evan. This is going to come into play if the one get the winner tonight, and his way into the chase is paved.
Yeah, again, we've been talking about that, and it almost going to eliminate the points racing, and that is the fact that after the first 22 races, when we go to that 10-race chase here, you're going to win. You're going to be in there pretty much guaranteed, so you're going to be wanting to get that win, and it's going to make it more exciting for everybody else to see it. We're going to really see these guys racing real hard, and not to say that they're not doing it right now, but this is still tame. We still have over 40 laps to go. Wait till this thing comes down to the end, and you're going to see some driving.
Oh, absolutely, and of course, not only are these guys just driving to have fun out here, there's a lot of stuff going on. The awards banquet at the end of the year. There'll be trophies, plaques, and credits will be given out for special awards at the year's end. And of course, some of these awards are tentative to change, maybe add a little bit more. Championship trophy going to be given out. Championship runner-up, all 3 champions race drivers. Most wins, non-championship award will be given out. A best average finish with 25 or more starts. Best corners per incident. We could all use a little less incidents in our races. That's again with 25 plus starts. Most completed laps, 25 plus starts. A team championship. Will it be the JGR guys? Will it be the Fearless Racing team? Will it be Hollywood Motorsports, Red Ash Chassis, Simpro Racing, Wolf Motorsports? Hashtag Silver Team. Hey, if I left you out, send me an email. A lot of different teams in the race tonight here. Of course, Clean Driver Award. Of course, will be voted on by the drivers, and Most Improved Driver based on vote by drivers. Hey, if I can mention one other one, it'd be Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, we talked about some of the rookies coming into this field, and we were talking about some of them going to be starting, especially the one driver that started this race in 7th. That's Thomas Aaron. We talked about him at the top of the show. So when it comes to restrictor plate racing, especially with a teammate and guys that you've run with for a while, you know how each other race. You know how you guys move up and down a little bit in that trial, but you know how you take the turn entry. When you come to these rookies, maybe if they don't know anybody, if you have to get hooked up with a rookie that you've never pushed with before, that's when things can get real close. So Rookie of the Year is always, though, a great one to keep an eye on as the whole field tries to get around some more lap traffic and everybody able to do so without incident. But we're going to go 3 wide, 42. Machinist Scott Stenzel's in the middle of it.
Yeah, that's going to be really back in position 12 there. You see the 12 car way up high on the racetrack there. The 3 car managing to get by. That's Scott Brotherton. Let's take a look at this mid-pack racing right here for a second, Evan. Again, 3 wide, the 14, Joey Katina now in there. The 60 machine going 3 wide. Here comes the 45, 3 wide, diving off into turn 3. Of course, that's Pete Zaneri out there in the 39 position. 12 car that's being now put a lap down, so put 38 drivers now all the way back to Keith Brooks Jr. on the lead lap.
And yeah, this time by they're going to take lap number 45, so next time by the start-finish side, it is going to be the halfway of the Daytona 225 here with the Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series presented by Gary Mercer Trucking, and that means that one more pit stop, and all these guys are ready to rock and roll here for the end of this race, but the question is, they're starting to group up a lot if they don't pile them in here, because you can only do this for so long, this kind of racing, 2-3 wide, switching your partners and so forth. You got to make green flag pit stops when you're 2-3 wide. That'll be a show.
Let's go down real quick to Jimmy North. Jimmy, the 43 is down on pit road. Douglas White, the leader on pit road.
And here we go, boys. They're starting to peel in here, get some fuel and some tires. Also, guys, want to report in a quick little note on the 10-car John Abbott with the Stroke Races team. He's got a little bit of damage on the front nose of his car. About 2 laps down, his chances of winning the 225 is pretty slim unless he gets lucky and gets some lucky dogs. But like I'm saying, yep, they're starting to peel off here.
Yeah, and talk about a bad break, Jimmy North. I just saw Doug Roth slide him through the pit box, came in second position, and he sped, Jimmy.
Yep, tough break for that team. They'll have to come back in and do a pass-through. And we got a couple more cars peeling off here. No, just one more car.
And I tell you what, who that really hurts, Evan, and that's Douglas White, teammate to Doug Roth. It looks like, though, Jose Gonzalez is just about, he's about 2 turns away, though, from Douglas White. So that's really a tough break for both of those drivers.
Yeah, he came in and he locked that thing up, and he entered pit lane about 10 miles an hour. too fast, and he locked it up, and that's why we saw him real slow. And his drafting partner at the time being kind of blew on by him, Doug Roth, was the fact that the 43 machine just messed up that entry. He's going to come down this time as the 43 heads down the pit lane down towards Jimmy North. Jimmy, tough break for that 43 team. What's the crew chief telling him?
And we got the 27 and the 44 hitting pits. Majority of guys are just doing fuel only, no tires.
And that's an interesting call there, Jimmy, to take just fuel only. I guess because of the green flag stop here, you know, you just want to cram it in fuel and forget about the tires. But the way these guys are driving here, we could see this thing go into the green flag finish. Now, Evan may, you know, differ from me here, but and think there may be a late caution. But how important is the right sides on these cars? I mean, especially with 45 to 50 laps, Jimmy.
Well, it's very important, especially on the right in front and the right rear as well. You know, if some of these guys are running a little bit looser setup than some of the other guys. Tire wear really hasn't been an issue all weekend, practice, qualifying. I mean, just haven't seen any cording, any tire blowouts, anything like that, causing any wrecks. But, you know, you'd have to think that with the hotter temps and the newer surface, and of course Goodyear has built a wonderful tire here as well. You have to wonder that some of these guys are going to try and push it and maybe, you know, go 3/4 of the race on just a single set of tires. You at least want to take right sides just to be safe.
And on the other spectrum as me, Evan, you think we'll see a late caution?
The way they're racing right now, again, it's still pretty calm. They're going too wide, but it's Daytona. If you're going to go by the number, then yes, they're going to go under the yellow flag late, and maybe even not that late, and we'll see a string of yellows. That's just the way these races seem to go. Again, we saw a couple drivers peel off and hit the pit lane to make their stalls. Again, a whole bunch of people still on the lead lap. They're talking over the radios, coming in somewhere in the range of lap 58 to lap 60. So these guys still going to be going out for about 8 more laps before they enter the pit lane based on the chatter that I've been hearing between crews. However, the fact may be that when they come down, we're going to have to find out where they blend in with some of these guys that have already made their stops.
You know, and as I sat here and kept thinking about the bad break for the 43 machine of Roth there, you know, like I talked about in the opening part of the race, Evan, coming down off of turn 4, getting down on pit road, getting woed up, and we've seen our first speeding penalty and our first green flag pit stop, and somebody's already been nailed. And it not only hurts him, but it hurts his teammate who came in with him, and that's what's so bad about a track like Daytona, where the tandem draft or where a drafting partner is so much needed. I'm interested to see the next group of people who break.
Just teammates. You got to think, what if we get in a scenario where 6 guys, 10 cars pull into the pit lane at the same time? You might end up there on the front stretch grass if you have to try to avoid somebody. So that's really when it could become a calamity corner coming down to the pit lane. Again, still a lot of drivers that have not made that stop, still out there on this lead lap racing too wide and starting to approach the number that's been tossed around by those guys. So that's going to be very, very close if we do make it these next couple laps, and have to see these guys try to single file out and then make it down the pit lane.
Bring out the hammers and bring out sheet metal. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Hopefully we'll catch some green flag pit stops here after the break. You're watching Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series live at Daytona International Speedway.
In a world where survival is the only rule and feelings have no place, where winning is everything and weakness is fatal, how much difference can one person make? That depends on the person. In every life, there is a line that cannot be crossed without leaving everything behind, except faith. Once that step is taken, there is no looking back, and all that lies ahead is destiny. There is no looking back, and all that lies ahead is destiny.
Another fine sponsor here, Quad City Speedway, where the stars come out to play. Back live at Daytona International Speedway, where a couple of more pit stops just happened under the green flag condition, Jimmy.
Yeah, these guys, I tell you, it's amazing. I'm seeing guys have taken 2 right sides, and a majority of them have just taken no tires at all and just fuel. So this is going to be an interesting factor at the end of the race as far as handling. And we have all 4 JGR cars coming down pit road.
I'd say that's probably a team decision. And like Jimmy said, Evan, all kinds of strategies being played out here, so it'll be interesting to see when everything shakes back out after everyone hits and the cycle's through. Who's going to be leading this thing? I mean, I can't even take a guess right now who's going to be leading this thing when it cycles through. There's so many different strategies, and that's what's so fun about Daytona. Who's going to make the strategy that counts in the end if this thing stays green? Now, if it goes to yellow, throw out the strategy.
Especially if we see a yellow flag here during the middle of these pit stops, because that can cause a lot of confusion for race control, trying to find out where everybody is, and that could really shuffle up this order, as well as Chad Schilling in the 35 takes gas only. He is up and away, but look at this pack around Rich Jett, the 36 machine. He's race leader, and he has got a big wad of cars in front of him that are actually at the tail end of the lead lap now. As Rich Jett hits the pit lane, that is a mess of 3 wide through the trial.
Absolutely it is. 3 wide again, turns 1 and 2. The 27, Guy Snyder, 25th spot, 5 to the outside. Up against the wall, the 41 up against the wall. 3 wide still out of 2. Guy Snyder, the hot dog between the buns, and Steve got shot down low.
Someone got shot out of line there down the back straightaway. 91 machine is able to hang on to it. Steve Gottschalk getting shot out of line after contact with the 27. They're going to be okay and still hang on to it for the time being, but that 3 wide was wild.
Woo! Man, you're talking about a tense situation as the 1 car, Thomas J. George, the leader on the track currently, coming down pit road, gets it rolled up 55 mile an hour. Look at the 78 Mattress Machine car out to the right side of him.
Yeah, things continuing to cycle through right now. Scott Stenzel being shown as race leader. He's actually down there on pit road making service to his number 42 machine, looking like no tires going to be going on his car, and he is out and away for the final pit stop as everybody else coming in the pit lane as well, trying to wrap things up. 78, 1 machine's leaving. 77, 20 machine also. Joseph Hayes in the 31, John Wilco, Stephen Herring, all down the pit lane, and they're starting to head out, and this is starting to approach the end of these green flag pit stops as the big pack of cars starts to come back through the tri-oval and catch these guys.
Still green flag racing. 58 laps complete.
Oh, 27.
Up,
Guy
27
Snyder.
car.
Guy Snyder gets turned. Yellow flag is out. The 66 junked as well, and there's the yellow. And we're going to group them all back up after contact in 1 and 2. After going 3 wide, they double filed out, and I don't know what happened there, but that 27 machine just spun right out, and I didn't see a wiggle from either car. But nonetheless, 27 to Snyder does a quick 360 into the outside wall, comes down the racetrack, gets the 25, and destroys the 66 Hot Wheels machine of the driver in the 66 machine. Again, unable to avoid it. Brian Harvey on the inside, tried to get around it. Innocent victim, and we're going to group these guys back up.
Yeah, we're going to try to get Guy Snyder up into the booth here in a second to find out exactly what happened, but he's probably just as surprised as we are, Evan. Again, I've taken several looks at the replay here on my screen, and Mark Bratcher, the 17 car behind him, was the one that got into him, but it just looks like a little bit of tap, and it just sent him around, like you said, 360 into the wall.
Yeah, that was strange. I mean, it's possible there was boot seat bumper grab where the 2 guys move a little bit and it gets hooked, but I mean, those guys were holding it pretty still. That thing just got sideways in the middle of the corner, and this changes the whole complexion of the race, guys. Look who's up in the number 1 spot all of a sudden. It's Chad Cole in the 8 machine right now.
Oh no, the 8 car of Chad Cole out front, and I believe, Evan, he has already pitted. so he will not have to come down pit. Now remember, we saw Thomas J leading the race. He has pitted, and he will stay on the lead lap. So that's good. Like you were saying earlier about being, pitting and the leader's passing you and going down a lap and a caution come out. But he's okay. And speaking of okay, let's go down to Jimmy North, who is just now caught up with the 27 machine of Guy Snyder.
Yeah, Evan and Keaton up there in the booth. I just joined up here with the guy Schneider. He's climbing out of the 27 Menard Chevrolet. Very heavily damaged car on the front end, and also took a hit on the side. Guy Schneider, are you okay?
Sorry, I missed your lead up there.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Say, you doing okay? Looked like a pretty hard hit there to the 27 Menard Chevrolet. What happened there, bud?
Yeah, I guess it hit so hard I can't even listen to you talk. Yeah, I don't know. 17 just kind of pushed in the corner, and you can't really do that. And everybody kind of knew about that, but I guess he forgot. I guess he claims that it looked like something broke on my car, but I think he just turned me. So it was a tough break. We were having fun. Not really a big fan of this drafting package. It's kind of a little too much running line and check up all the time, and you'll have that kind of thing there. It was getting dicey. It was bound to happen. I'm just sorry it happened to me and the Menard boys tonight. Catches. You can't push in the corner unless you are really cautious about it, and I pulled him around the outside there, and it was against my better judgment. We've had history in the past, and I don't know. I'm not saying it was intentional or anything like that, but it was unfortunate nonetheless.
All right, just to make it real brief and short here, so we can get back to the other stuff that we need to cover. How's the tire wear tonight? I noticed a lot of guys weren't taking any tires at all during that first round of pit stops.
It was...
All right, Guy. I appreciate you stepping over here and having an interview with us, and hopefully have some better luck next week, bud.
Yep, I appreciate it. And you're a heck of an interviewer.
Thank you.
I'll tell you what, yeah, I tell you what, Evan, no pushing in the corner, like what Guy said, kind of remnants of back in the 90s when the 3 black machine of Dale Earnhardt Sr. Pushing a little bit hard in the Bristol.
25 here, and we're working under yellow, lap 62, so we're going to be inside 30 to go. It's going to get wild.
It really is, and with that said, we're going to step aside, take a quick commercial break. I'm going to go get some peanuts and let Mr. MW, Michael Woolley, take us to a commercial break. You're watching Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series live at Daytona International Speedway, Race 1. Who will take home the Checkered, and who will be the winner and be in it in the end? We'll find out soon. And we're back where the pace lights have just came off. That means the signal has been given. 1 to go. And Evan, you called him earlier. Chad Cole out front, but look who is on the outside. Teammate CJ LeVere. Can they hook up here and get going?
Yeah, that's going to be the plan as the lights are off atop the Ford First Racing Mustang pace car. So we're going to be looking for the green flag to take lap number 64 inside 30 to go. You win this race. Again, you're not only going for a win at Daytona, you're trying to buy your ticket into the chase for this Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series Championship when it comes down the line here in 22 races. 8-4 front row teammates. No question those guys are going to hook up, but the question will be if they stay up front.
Guys know that. And of course, LeVere, no stranger to being fearless when it comes to trying to win a race. Scott Stitzel's third, Brendan Jay Randall Watkins in that 7 car. I love it. The 77 machine. 8th, John Wilco up into the top 10 here tonight. And Joey Gattina, newly introduced into the ARCA series, rolls into the 10th spot here. And pole sitter R.J. Williams sitting on the 11 dial as the pace car takes us back green. Chad Cole for the first time tonight, Evan, will take us to the green at the Daytona 5. Oh, excuse me, the Daytona 225.
Yeah, they're on the loud pedal. Green flag is out. 14 machine, or rather 94, going to drop down to the inside. That's Brundy's, Eric Brundy's. Going to get down in line 8 machine of Chad Cole leading the inside lane, looking like he might try to side back a little bit to let CJ LeVere in front of him. Not going to get it done. Locks the 8 machine to maybe step out wide here. Coming up out of 2 now as they're 2 wide out of back straightaway. Do those fearless teammates try to get hooked together right now? Chad Cole staying on the inside lane with help from Stenzel in the 3.
I was about to say, Stenzel's not letting LeVere in and is pushing Chad Cole for all he's worth. Then to turn 3. With the 94 Ford behind him, that's Eric Brundy's now on the bottom of 3-car Tango as Stenzel looks high, and LeVere will sneak up under the back rear deck lid and try to take him to the lead at Daytona, but not quite yet.
Yeah, it was Chad Cole leading that last time by the stripe. Clear advantage. Just got Stenzel now into the corner. 42 not going to get clear, so he's unable to try to drop down in front of Chad Cole's machine. So you got those teammates up there, the 8 and the 4. They haven't been able to get together yet, but we got
64 laps in the books. 65 coming to be completed this time by ever so close. 25 laps away from seeing the first winner of the 2014 Full Throttle Cup Series. Will it be Cole? Will it be Brundy's? Will it be LeVere? Could it be Matt LaCrosse back in 10th? Could it be the 3-wide machine of J. Randall Watkins in 6th? As he'll fall back now to 7th, the 35 underneath him. That's Chad Schilling making his way into the top 10 tonight.
With the 21 machine of lacrosse and try to get hooked up. Meanwhile, side by side up front, drag race to the start-finish line. It's going to be Scott Stenzel in his 42 Chevrolet can lead this time by with help from the 4 of CJ LeVere, as it is still the 8 machine of Chad Cole leading that inside lane.
18 lead changes. A new record for this year, as we're still early on though. 18 though so far, Evan. This means good racing here up front.
Yeah, we were after that incident there, we were talking with Guy Snyder, and he said that he wasn't the biggest fan of this current package, but it's definitely provided for passing. Again, they may be damage on the 91 machine of Steve Gottschalk. 15 is in the wall as well. 43, 15 again, the 83, and 12 also 41. A whole bunch of cars, and they're still reckoning for it.
Oh yeah, they just piled up into this one. Nowhere to go, nowhere safe on the track to avoid that one, Evan, unless you're through the grass. And I tell you, one guy tried to go through the grass but couldn't quite make it happen, and that was the 88 machine. And just lost control there out of turn 4. And like you said, back under the yellow here, Doug Rolfe. Heavy smoke pouring out from under the machine of that car. Jason White also involved. You mentioned the 30 car. Man, I tell you, that's a tough break here. Jimmy?
Yeah, Jimmy. Johnny, no, huh? All right, I love it. Anyway, just a quick report, guys, here. Some frustration out of the 60 team. John Hankman Jr. Not happy on the radio. It seems like he got a little bump from behind on the 91, and he's not too happy as he's pulling in pit road here. We'll try and catch up with him.
Yeah, the 90 machine got a tap, which caused that incident. It was the 91 behind him of Gottschalk. Ran up with a huge run. 91 was getting pushed by the 26 of Jose Gonzalez. Sent the 60 around. He hit the 31, came back up. 91, 26, 30. The 5 and the 20, or the 92 with real hard licks into the outside wall. And the first big one of the evening, I guess we can call it, because that was a pretty major incident there coming out of the corner, is going to put us in the position that we are in right now. A couple cars going to come down the pit lane from the tail end of the lead lap, and then obviously those drivers that were involved in the incident going to come down and salvage what they have or end up pushing that thing behind the wall. And Jimmy's going to try to get caught up with some of these guys that get taken out in that here in a couple moments, but we're going to slow them back down again once again. K10 and inside, or we will be inside of 20 to go this time, and if that wasn't wild enough, they'll just crank it up another notch.
Yeah, and I guarantee you, you're going to see them come down pit road. I'm not 100% sure, but you could see some guys try to come down pit road, maybe see some fake outs, I don't know. But while we've got a moment, you asked for it, I want to tell you, new chase rules for the 2014 series. To qualify for the Full Throttle Cup Series chase, drivers must have what? A win in the first 22 race regular season. Of course, 10 more races will be added on to the schedule after that. And I'll tell you what, before we get back into the more rules here, we're going to go to Keith Brooks Jr. interview. Jimmy, you're standing by with him now.
Yeah, guys, I'm down here in pit road in the garage area. Not pit road, I should say. Sorry, I'm getting confused. I'm up and down all over the place on the track this evening, man. It's been busy. I'm standing here right next to Keith Brooks Jr. Keith, it looks like you took a pretty hard lick there, bud. Want to tell us what happened?
Too fast, not enough time to slow down. Just wrong place, wrong time. Destroyed the car. Had a little right front fender damage the whole race. Finally got it fixed and the car was running good, and then that happened, so just typical Daytona.
Yeah, it looked like you had a good game plan and strategy from what I was hearing from Evan and Keaton up on the booth there, and I was down here in the garage area kind of sneaking around and over even on pit road there, listening to your crew chief there. It looks like you guys had a good plan going with some of the teammates.
Yeah, it just, I don't know what it meant to be, and I seen that happen, jammed on the brakes, but when it hit the wall and I think got hit from the left from another car, the motor was done, so I was done.
Yeah, real unfortunate, Keith, and hopefully you have better luck next week, bud.
Yeah, ready to go to Phoenix now.
Alright, of course, Mr. Keith Brooks Jr. will have 21 more attempts to try to qualify his way into the big event at the end of the season. Of course, 10 races will be added on to the schedule there to fulfill the challenger round, the contender round, the eliminator round, and then finally the Full Throttle Cup Series championship race at Homestead, Miami. And there'll be 4 drivers competing into that one. Or if you don't win a race, Evan, you can have another option. If as long as 16 other different winners didn't win, it then goes to the top drivers in points without a win that will make up the rest of the field of the 16. So we're going to have a little Sweet 16, I guess you could call it, NCAA bracket type deal. And this is going to be interesting to watch unfold all season long. Because if you win it, what are you, Evan?
You're going to be in that sucker, I'm telling you, for the final 10 races, and that is going to make for some hell of a races. And especially, you talk about if there's not going to be the amount of guys that fills the chase going into there with the W's. I mean, last season we saw Chad Cole and Dwayne Vincent walk away with nearly double-digit wins. So it's very possible that this thing could resort to points. You have a guy going into those final couple races before the chase starts, don't have the points. It's going to get pretty wild, and I think it's also going to get wild here this evening, getting ready to close this thing off here at the Daytona International Speedway. We've been racing for just over an hour's time now, and inside of 20 to go, as it actually was 20 laps to go that time by, so 19 to go. When we come to take a green flag, will it be the final restart? I wouldn't count on it.
And now we're going to go down to pit road real quick with Jimmy North with an update. Jimmy?
Alright guys, I've caught up with the number 43 Doug Rothman at STP Chevrolet. Doug, it looked like he took a pretty hard hit there, and like I said, he's just got out of the infield care center. Looks like you're a little banged up there, but how you feeling, man?
Sore to say the least, Jimmy. That was one hard lick. Everything, I looked at the replays from the Telecaster and just checked up on the inside and tried to go low through the middle and try to avoid it. It's the big one, not much you can do.
And you got to give a lot of credit to the safety and development of the race cars today. I mean, to see a driver like yourself walk out, or actually get up out of the race car, hop in the ambulance and go get checked out and come out here and look like you're just fine. A little shook up, but mentally, you know, you're thinking, man, what the heck just happened? It happened so fast. Glad you're okay.
Yeah, most definitely. A big thumbs up to NASCAR. I mean, I hit the outside wall there head on, and I mean, if it wasn't for the safety walls, I mean, God knows how serious that could have been. But yeah, I'm good. A little shooken up, a little sore, like I said, but I'll be back out here next week.
Yeah, and I'd imagine the whole team right now is just kind of frustrated because, you know, you guys had a good strategy going on. You know, you're kind of mid-pack and, you know, just kind of doing your thing, and hopefully you were going to maybe walk out here with the top 5, top 10. Instead, you got the car in the garage and ready to load it up on the transporter and get out of here. But it's unfortunate, man, and we look forward to talking to you at Phoenix next week.
Hey, sounds great, Jimmy. Appreciate the great simulcast, and you guys do a great job, and appreciate it. I'd like to say big thanks to my teammates, Fearless Racing, and we'll get them next week.
All right. Have a good night, Doug.
Thanks, man.
And in the words of Doug, sometimes you gotta check up to catch up. He just couldn't check up quick enough. Evan, as the lights have been thrown back out onto the pace car here, we're gonna line them up and go one more round, and we'll go green on the 18th lap to go.
Yeah, there was a minor a glitch or a blip in the scoring system, and some of these guys got shuffled in line, so the RSR officials up there in the tower, just a couple windows down from us up here, the broadcast booth, deciding to throw that yellow one more time so that everybody can get grouped back up and try to get these guys in order for this restart, because they were kind of shuffled there coming out of 4 after that small issue. So they're back in the proper spots. We're down the back straightaway. Lights are off, and the pace car. It is going to be 18 to go when we take the green.
I heard in my ear, I think Jimmy North said it was Rolf's Band-Aid that came off and flew onto the racetrack, and race officials threw out a caution. Nonetheless, Doug Ross, how many? Yeah, three cautions only tonight here at Daytona, Evan. Kind of a good thing, but who knows? We could see probably 3 or 4 more here, and still maybe get this thing back up to go green. But it's coming down to the end here.
Yeah, I mean, and the biggest strike that we've seen so far collected around 8 machines, so they can still wait all night long to wad them up. They still got 30 machines left on the lead lap, and we're coming to take another restart. Will it be the final restart? Who knows? It's going to be Chad Cole, Eric Brundy's on the front row as the pace car hits down to the safety of the pit lane. 4 machine LeVere on Chad Cole's bumper to get pushed, and green flag in the air there on the loud pedal, and we're back racing.
And what a great start for the 42 machine, back in 4th spot. That is Scott Stencil, directly nearly tucked up under the rear deck lid of Brundy's machine going into turn 1, a Ford versus a Chevy, but 2 teammates on the bottom will continue to pull off into turns 2 and say hello to the horizon that's setting in turn 3.
There's not any room to give here. These guys bumper to bumper and door to door to out of ag straightaway. Advantage is going to be to Chad Cole on the inside lane. He has help now with his Fearless Racing teammate. The Fora CJ LeVere was able to find him there on that restart after starting behind him. They pushed all the way into the corner. Now the 4 machine LeVere gets off from Chad Cole's back end, and they're going to hook back up now, coming into the Triumph of the Will Be the 8 machine, leading the lap at the 94 of Eric Brundy is currently sitting in 3rd. He's got the 42 machine behind him, and Scott Stenzel. Those 2 cars, the only guys inside of the top 5, trying to work the top lane, and then they continue to be side by side behind them. But 94 is going to jump in line. 42 is just going to get left out to dry. No help until he drops back here to the 36 machine at 8.
And so much for side-by-side racing for the first top 5 guys here. We're single file. Could be the likes of guys thinking, let's show us somewhat of patience here and get this thing at least under 10 to go before we start racing. But the 36 of Rich Jet says, no, I want some action on the outside, as again, he did hook up with Stencil as they start moving forward into turn 1.
Just chime in real quick here, guys. Jimmy North here on Pit Road. I just happened to notice, I don't know if you guys up there can watch this, but it looked like Jose Gonzalez was a little angry at somebody, waving something out the window.
Uh-oh. And, of course, Jose Gonzalez sporting the Rums of Puerto Rico machine tonight. He's got the 60 hooked up with him, Jimmy, back in 28th. But, yeah, Jose's the type, you know, he's on the lead lap here, so he can't complain too bad, right? But as caution is back out on the racetrack, this looks like it happened up close to the front, maybe mid-pack there.
Six. No, rather the 9. Bobby Terrell is around heavy front-end damage to his number 9, Joey Jatina Racing Chevrolet, and he's going to roll it down here towards the pit lane. That thing is done racing-wise for this evening. The incident is going to happen, and it initially starts in front of him, and it is the 77 and the 14 machine that get tangled together at the very start of this thing, the 77 of J. Randall Watkins. And similar to the incident that we saw earlier that involved Guy Snyder, is the 14 machine just gets turned sideways. I mean, no real major wiggle. That's Joey Jatina's machine. 93 moves up just the slightest bit, hooks the 14 around. And when we talked, or rather when Jimmy was down there on the pit lane and he was talking to Snyder, he was talking about the drafting in this corners and how hard it is to stay hooked up and not spin. 14 got turned. Huge hit for the 77 machine. Just gets destroyed, clobbers that outside wall. 93, the 3 machine in it as well. A couple other cars going to pick up some damage from it, and again it's going to be turn 4, acting as calamity corner back under the yellow flag.
Yeah, J. Randall Watkins got hooked like a dead fish in water. I mean, just go in there and all of a sudden minding your own business, Evan, and getting hooked right there in the right quarter panel. Obviously nothing that Joey could do about it, but going back to what you said, you know, it looked like the 93 machine was just tucked up under the deck lid of him, and it was smooth sailing, just giving him a nice little bump draft there, and she just went around on him.
Yeah, he just went right around, and that one maybe a little bit more than the one previous, a little bit of a movement up to the top side from the car that was second in that 2-car tandem. But again, that car just went dead sideways and really nowhere for him to go. And Jimmy North, you're down there on the pit lane, and J. Randall Watkins is climbing out of his machine.
Yeah, and actually the emergency medical guys are showing up as well to take him to the Infield Care Center. Randall, real quick, you okay, bud? And what happened?
I wish I knew what happened. At one side, real moment I'm through the turn, next moment I'm on my roof looking at the asphalt.
Yeah, you look like you're a little shook up there, and car's obviously really heavily damaged, and probably no hopes of getting back out for the race. But we won't let you, just a couple questions, or maybe a simple, quick question is, well, how did your race go tonight? Up until that point, were you having a lot of fun out there?
Yeah, we were just biding our time with the team. We were just riding along, trying to stay out of trouble, which we knew it was eventually going to happen. And then, as luck would have it, whenever we pitted, we came out, and the caution just came out the right time to get us whole team up in the front.
All right, Randall. Well, I certainly appreciate you stopping on by here for the interview. We're going to let you get checked out at the Infield Care Center.
All right,
best of luck
thanks, Jimmy.
week, bud.
Now, Jimmy, we understand today you've caught up with the Bobby Terrell down on pit road.
Yeah, I'm down here with Bobby Terrell guys up there in the booth, Evan and Keaton. Bobby, how you feeling about it? Are you okay after that big wreck?
I'm shaking up a little bit. I thought I had it cleared, but I just got tagged there in the right rear corner. It looked like it spun me into the wall.
Yeah, looking at the replay here, as you're standing right next to me, you can see on our cameras that looked like you just about avoided the wreck, and you got clipped on the right front, and then your car just kind of turned head on into that inside wall, and man, what a whale of a hit that was.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm done. It totaled my car. I mean, I can't get it repaired, so it's over for me. It's a shame.
Yeah, real
a few laps
unfortunate.
to go.
Yeah, and you know, now, you know, with a lot of other guys similar in your position that have to go into Phoenix and fight really hard in the points, because, you know, a big hit like this early in the race, or early in the season, I should say, is not good.
No, it's not good, but I mean, I like Phoenix and I like short track, so hopefully I can qualify well and be up front most of the race.
All right, Bobby. Well, I certainly appreciate you coming up for an interview here, and we'll let you get back to your team there.
All right, thanks, man.
And also, guys, catching up with Scott Brotherton here. Scott, man, I tell you, that 3 car, I mean, are you thinking that there's a little bit of bad luck on your side there?
No, Jimmy, I really should have been in front of that. I was sucking up to the car in front of me about 200, 300 yards before the wreck happened, and RJ dropped down and cut my run off, and it kept him on my outside, and I guess when that wreck happened, he probably turned down to avoid it and hit me in the right front.
All right, how is your car? Are you guys able to get it fixed up and get back out on the track?
We got all the damage fixed. The hood's back down, so, you know, hopefully it'll suck up to somebody and salvage something out of this.
Well, that'll be good, sir, and certainly appreciate you doing an interview, and hope maybe we'll be talking to you in Victory Lane.
Appreciate it, Jay.
All right, and now we're going to take a look here, Evan, to see what we've got to come up with here with now being shown on the board 11 laps to go. Pace car lights off, so, well, there'll be 11 to go when we go green.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about the fact that this thing could come down to being a shootout when it was 30 to go. And I said, don't count on it being the last yellow, and it has nothing to do with the drivers. It comes down to the package, and you can only go 2-3 wide for so long before something happens. And we've seen it really with those past 2 incidents, or this incident and then the accident prior to the one before that, is the fact that you're pushing in the corner. You got to do that if you want to be competitive here in the closing laps, and that car can just go dead left in the middle of the turn, spin out, and you don't have any opportunity. There's not enough of a window for you to save it because it happens so quickly. There's no time to react, and even guys on the inside lane, which is normally the place you want to be when there's a wreck because you can get down into the grass as opposed to being on the outside and having a wall to your right-hand side and cars wrecking on your left. Even those guys get collected in, and it just happens when the track gets blocked. So we're doubled up. Lights are off. We're getting ready for 11 to go restart. I don't know if they're done wrecking yet, but it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, and you know, 45 laps ago I was talking about this race going green and finishing under green. Now it just looks like caution breeding season, but like you said, it's going to get interesting here with 11 laps to go at the green flag drop. 8 car of Chad Cole going to take us back to the green. CJ LeVere, teammate of Cole there on the outside, and again, that Pennzoil Ford machine of Eric Brundy's now to the bottom race side of the racetrack, and the 1 car of Thomas J. George back up into the top 5. He'll start 4th. As the pace car back down on pit road, green flag racing back at Daytona International Speedway.
The 8 machine of Chad Cole gets the start, and choreographically, I don't even know if that's a word, but as per the choreography, CJ LeVere is going to get it behind Chad Cole down that front straightaway and down to turn number 1. So the Fearless Racing teammates hooked up at the front of the field, and now quick yellow, more trouble right behind these guys real quick after just going back to the green flag. And 43 machine is out in the grass going off-road. The 60 of John Higman Jr. is torn up, and another big pileup going into the corner.
Ooh, and this one looks like R.J. Williams and the 14 of Joey got involved in that. It looks like there was a slight 3-wide move for a moment. And that's a tough one right there, Evan, looking at it there. 88 car getting involved with that, a couple other cars too as well. Ooh.
That's teammates getting hooked together, the 2. And that's the second incident. Joey Gentina is the one that got spun in turn 4, just 1 caution to go, and he's on the back bumper, and a slow machine on the outside lane is the 62 car. 62 machine of John Wilco did not get a good restart, and the 2 machine tried to pull a line and just came down too early, hooked his own teammate into the 62. They went around, and then they stacked it up on top of the racetrack going into the turn, and easily another 10 machines torn up in that, and just going to go back under yellow once again and knock off a couple more laps under the caution flag. The guys that are loving it right now are those teammates in P1 and 2.
Yeah, and one guy taking a hard liquor was the 60 machine of John Higman Jr., who had stayed up into the front there for the most part of the race tonight, and now he's done, showing back in position 27th, and still not, this race is still not over with, so he could drop back even further, as now being shown on the racetrack, 26 cars on the lead lap, and Chad Cole and CJ LaVere, teammate of his, are probably just loving this. You know, the cautions here, winding the race down. Cole could be your winner here in the Daytona 225. Who knows? Jimmy?
Yeah, guys, I was just reporting in here. I'm down on pit road, standing over in the 3-team area here, and I tried to catch a quick interview with the crew chief for Scott Brotherton in that 3-car, and he declined an interview. But another close call for that team. They were just about caught up in that one.
And I just heard the Irwin Ford machine of John Langley, Jimmy, blow up just before the pit road there, couldn't quite make it. So another driver failing to win here. Another driver out of contention of the 225.
Yeah, seems to be a lot of wrecks coming in here, and let me tell you, the garage area is busy.
Evan, can we get at least 2 green flag laps ran? We haven't had 2 green flag laps ran in about 10 laps, 6 of which have been under the yellow. So, you know, can we get the, if it goes back green in 2 to 3 laps, and we run at least 1 under the green flag, and another caution were to fall, this race could end under caution, and we don't want to see that. We don't want to see the opening race of the Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series end under caution. I know Chad Cole hates to win under caution. I know he'd love to win it here, but no one likes winning under caution.
Nah, these guys are race car drivers. I mean, they want to race things out and to it. They're only going to race harder on this restart than they did on the last one, and that's just the nature of the situation. Is you're going for a win at a Daytona 225 here with Real Sim Racing. You win a race here in this league, and that's a pretty big thing. If you're not a regular in here, you come in here as a rookie. I mean, look at Thomas George in the 1 machine. He is sitting in P4 right now. He could easily walk away with this and have Brandon Peterson in the 6th spot. So a couple of new faces up at the front of this field can still walk away with it, but it's 2 veterans on the front row. So again, you talk about the fact that there is no green-white checker in the iRacing service, so you get it within 5 laps to go, a yellow flies, it's done. So when we look at a go back green here, if they get at least 1 or 2 laps in yellow flies, it is going to be done. So despite that they're going to be going at it in the back there in mid-pack, and it's going to be real close there, you got to keep an eye up front to see who is ahead, and if that yellow flag flies, who can squeak it out.
And Jimmy?
Yeah, real quick, guys. Here
take?
it looks like the Adam Roberts 88 machine is rolling out of the garage area. Here we're gonna try and we were gonna try and sneak in an interview, but he climbed back in the car and was pulling all back onto the track as we speak.
Yeah, points ever so meaningful here. Again, you know, you don't necessarily have to win it to be in it. If they fail to have the 16 different drivers that's necessary to go into the Sweet 16 playoff race, it will go to the, it'll start then going by points standings, okay? And the top drivers in points without a win will make up the rest of the field of 16. So, and also too, you know, the winner tonight, he just can't, you know, go off on vacation and visit Mexico and go play golf at the Grand National Robert Trent Jones course. He has to be in the top 30 to be considered a Sweet 16 driver. So he can't just take a vacation, Evan. So winning tonight guarantees you a spot as long as you are in the top 30, which is really easier said than done in this series.
One of the keys is gonna be attending every single race. Again, 22 races before we head to that 10 race championship, but a race for the championship with that elimination style chase format. Staying in the top 30, you just got to be consistent. You got to show up to the track, and I think that if you get in a win, then you're going to have the talent level to easily be able to hang on to that top 30, but you do have to show up. Anything could happen. You never knew. So you can't hang back, and next thing you know, we get a whole bunch of no repeat winners. Next thing you know, you're on the outside looking at it, even though you walk away with the first W. 16 guys are higher than you in points to get victories. You never know what's going to happen, but winning this race is definitely going to be a step in the right direction. Chad Cole looking to get that done as he seeks his third straight major Real Sim Racing Championship. Again, he is the 2013 Full Throttle Cup Series champion, as well as the 2013-2014 Icebreaker Winter Series champion as well. That series wrapping up just weeks ago.
Yeah, and of course this is the Prestige race. I mean, this is the opening night of 2014 series, and of course part of the Mercer 100 group of 4 races: the Daytona 225, the Charlotte 260, the Brickyard 175, and then in October the Talladega Dash. And I tell you, the top 5 right now: Chad Cole, C.J. LaVere, Eric Bundy's, Thomas J. George, Matt LaCrosse, and rounding out the top 10, Brendan Peterson, Rich Jett, Scott Stencil, Chad Schilling, and Stephen Herring. And I tell you what, looking all the way back to 24th spot, the last man on the lead lap, Evan, Rhett McBride, I think even he has a chance to win this race if it can stay green. If it goes yellow, the race could be close and but over. But the chances of being anywhere between 6th and on back, your chances are so slim with just 2 or 3 laps to compete in.
Definitely, and if we do get that white flag under the green flag conditions, we're coming around this time, it is going to be 6 to go. If they wreck it in the first lap, we may see a shootout to the finish, but if we get the white flag, doesn't matter how many cars pile in, there's not going to be a yellow flag thrown. So you just need to get yourself in a position to have a remote shot at winning this. You don't even need to have a hood, you don't have to have the rear end on it, you don't even have to be going forwards. You just need to be there on that final lap, and we'll see what happens here. Out of 4, coming to the final restart, possibly.
Yeah, we seen years ago, remember Carl Edwards in the Daytona 500 running across the start-finish line on foot, and then we seen last night Kyle Busch down the pit road backwards finishing the Daytona 500. So, yeah, anything can happen here, and it's like exactly what you said. It doesn't matter what's on the car as long as you cross it. As Chad Cole leads us to the green flag, 6 fingers in the air there this time by.
They're going at it up front. They know it's on the line. It is the 4 of C.J. LaVere trying to squeak in line. He's able to do so, able to get it behind his Fearless Racing teammate, Chad Cole, who tries to make a jump to the outside. The 94 machine, Eric Brundy's having help from the 21 of Matt LaCrosse. 42 is going to jump up high. That's Scott Stenzel. Stenzel wants to work on a top lane with the 1 machine of Thomas George out of backstretch. Single foul caution. Gonna fly trouble back here in the pack, and they're wrecking out of back straightaway. 36 machine, Rich Jett, torn up after pancaking the wall, and yellow is out, and this may set up for a 1-lap shootout. It's gonna be tight.
And he got into the right rear quarter panel of Stephen Herring. Looks like going down the backstretch there, just ever so slightly tapping the right rear quarter panel, and that's gonna send him sideways into the wall. The 17 going to catch heavy damage from that as well. 17 being Mark Bratcher, again caught up in another wreck here tonight. But man, I tell you, I hope they can settle this back out and get it going back green, because that's just a shame for the first race to be under yellow here. But we'll see. We'll see if they can clean it up.
Yeah, you almost have to attribute that incident to the 98 of Stephen Herring. Herring's running the bottom, and he goes all the way from on board with that car or something. But that is Mark Bratcher, and Mark Bratcher is driving down the back straightaway. They wreck right in front of him. He drives right into it, gets sideways though, wheels it. His cars fly by on either side of him and spins it out, but keeps it off the wall.
And then blows it up and down into pit road. Man, I tell you, a lot of tough breaks for some drivers here tonight at Daytona. But this is how it happens. I mean, this is why you come here. You come here to try to win the big one, and usually you go home being the bad one.
And if we do go back green, it is going to be a 1-lap shootout.
Oh yeah,
and this is going to be close.
Yeah, looks like 4 fingers in the air this time by from the flagman there, who's had a real slow start to tonight's race, and then as the race went on and progressed after that green flag pit stop, Evan, it just seemed like the flagman is starting to roll his wrist a little bit from waving that flag so much, as we're still under caution here.
Yeah, and I do believe that down there on the pit lane, Jimmy North, who's been running around all evening long, has been able to catch up with one of the drivers caught up in that incident, driving that 98, Steve Herring.
Yeah, guys, you really put me to work down here, and just caught up with Steve Herring in the 98 Anti-Monkey Butt Chevrolet. That is an interesting sponsorship there, Steve. But first of all, glad you're okay. Step on the car. What happened, bud?
I think I came up on my teammate. I mean, it wasn't more than an inch. And I think I spun him, and it took me out also. Sitting in the top 10, we had 2 team cars. The top 10, I take full responsibility for it. My bad.
That's a tough break, man. Over and all, glad you're okay. But definitely some... well, how do I want to say this? As far as the team aspect goes, I'd imagine the meeting between you and your teammate there could be a little nasty. Then again, well, I hope you guys hug and make up and move on to Phoenix.
Well, we'll see what's going to happen. We'll meet over here at the trailer and see what's going on. Hopefully we'll just have a few beers and move on about it.
There you go. That's the way to do it. Jimmy North down here on pit road. Probably the final pit road report, be my guess.
Man, I'll tell you what, they're talking about drinking beer, Evan. If I'm that Pennzoil Ford of Eric Bundy's or the 21 of Matt Lacrosse, you know what I'm putting on? I'm putting on my boxing gloves, because if this thing gets going back green, you got to get to the front, because if you don't get to the front, from what we've seen the last 6 or 7 tries here, we couldn't get half a lap in. Yeah, exactly. So you got to go right from the start, coming out at it 2. If you're not making a position move, the caution could come out, and the next one that comes out, Evan, it's over. No more room for error.
The lights currently remaining on top of that Ford First Racing Mustang pace car up at the front of the field, running currently on lap 88. Drivers talking. We may have a one-lap shootout if the lights go off this next time by when the field takes 89. They will get to race lap 90 out. The race officials are currently discussing that over, so we'll try to get that information to you as soon as it's made official.
Continuing to pace down the backstretch here. It's up in the air currently. If we're going to get this thing back green, I hope we do. Chad Cole, LeVert, both teammates out front. The 94 car of Eric Brundy's is still maintaining his 3rd position. Meanwhile, Matt Lacrosse moved up ahead of Scott Stencil there into the 4th spot, and Stencil moving back to the 5th. And Chad Schilling inside the top 6 here, and Thomas J. George being shuffled back a little bit into 7th. 8th belongs to Brandon Peterson in that black Ford Furniture Row machine. 9th, how about this, Evan? Mike Montesi, a name that I don't think we've mentioned other than the starting grid tonight, into the top 10. And then just cracking inside the top 10 again is the Air Force cadet, Jonathan Cadell, the 11 car. We're 600 yards away from finding out if we're going to go back green, Evan.
You're going to have to find out what's going to happen in this time by the start-finish line. The pace car lights will...
Oh!
They're off! It's going to be a one-lap shootout here.
Oh, buddy! What do you say, Jimmy? Are the crew chiefs?
Holy smokes.
Yeah, the crew chiefs up on top of the box or what?
I'll tell you what, guys. They're all down here throwing their hats down, especially from Chad Cole's crew chief. I just saw him bang his fist down his computer, mad and angry that they get 1 lap to go.
All you can do, Evan, if you're a crew chief at this point, all you can do is watch. If you're a spotter, all you can do is try to spot. These guys are going to go hammer to hammer here when the green flag drops. And look, Evan, if I'm not mistaken, it's green in one hand and white in the other, and then 2.5 miles later, it's the black and white one, which is the checkered flag, right?
And if every single car crosses the start-finish line, again, if these guys at the back of the pack wreck, even though their leaders have already taken a white flag, the caution can still be thrown. if all these guys pretty much get across that start-finish line and get going, doesn't matter if we wad up all 20-something of these cars, there is not going to be a yellow flag. And
I love it.
What makes it interesting enough is you're not going to be able to get up to speed and start pushing your teammate until you get down the back straightaway. So this restart could be very key, but turn 3 and 4 is going to be hectic, man. Here we go.
Man, ain't this so much better than a fish under caution?
Yeah, I'll take one of these.
I love it. I'll take one of these, absolutely. Folks, crank it up, because we're about to go green here. One complete lap. That's it. Again, the right hand will hold the green flag. The left hand will hold the white flag. And we'll go 2.5 miles. And they'll probably just get full song coming down the backstretch. Evan, that's what's going to be so tricky. Can the cars get up to speed quick enough? We'll find out. The pace car down low. Chad Cole down low. Green flag in the air as Brundage pushes Cole to the front.
Chad Cole able to get out to a 1-car length lead as they fan out already 3 wide. In the middle of the pack, all eyes up at the #1 position. Chad Cole with a car length. The 94 machine is behind him. That's Eric Brundy's teammate CJ Rivera on the outside lane. He's trying to get a shell for the 21 machine of Matt Lacrosse as they continue to go through, and now down the back straightaway coming to the checkered. Big wiggle. 4 machine is off pace. CJ Rivera going to drop to the back. 2 cars up front.
And meanwhile, Brundage is to the high side of Chad. No help just yet. And here comes Stencil. Lacrosse in the blue and white car to the outside. No room for him. 3 wide out of 4. Call it to the line, Evan.
Coming down, Chad Cole with the advantage. He gets a shot. They're bouncing off each other. Chad Cole on the inside lane is going to edge him out as they wreck Chad Cole to victory lane at Daytona. We're flipping and wrecking after the checkered flag by 0.04 of a second. It's the 8 to victory lane.
That's what I'm talking about, baby. Chad Schilling in that 35 machine coming at the last second to put the tap to the rear end of Cole to give him the win. If not for Schilling, then Matt Lacrosse more than likely would have pushed that yellow 4 across for the victory tonight. So dinner from Cole needs to go to Schilling as we have finished the Daytona 225, the first race of the season, Full Throttle Cup Series winner. In it to win it, Chad Cole will win it.
That was a wild finish,
That was
gentlemen.
wild, guys.
That was very wild.
The 94 machine was trying to get that on the outside lane. That's Eric Brundy's. He went up high going into the corner. I thought we were going to go 3 wide with a 42 machine, 42 of Stenzel. Tried to go to the top, 21 left, and we said no thanks. Man, Lacrosse goes to the inside. We had 3 cars pushing, bouncing off each other. The 35 gives that 8 machine of Chad Cole a shot. 21 tries to push the 94, and it is the 21 getting spun off the bumper, the one that hooks the 35 of Chad Schilling, and he's in the wall upside down as Chad Cole, one of the only machines that drives away with that thing with the car not torn up. And I have never seen a finish like that at Daytona. These guys put on a show, to say the least.
I wonder if the NASCAR scoring system works if your car is upside down as you cross the start-finish line, even when your roof is not even touching the pavement.
That's just a minor technicality.
Oh man, what a wild finish!
Yeah, technicality or not, I'm sure that Chad Schilling's going to be all over the media tonight about getting a free meal from Chad Cole, because if it not had been for that 35 car, Evan and Jimmy, coming there at the last second to give him that extra needed budge, I think Eric Brundy's could have pulled out one heck of a one lap upset here.
Well, yeah, for sure. If he didn't get that shove, he would have gotten left. I mean, these guys were coming up, and they're not gonna check up and say, "Hold on, let me get up on your bumper and push." He just would have got run over.
Absolutely, and the top 10 here, as we get set to see if we can interview at least the top 3. Chad Cole will win the opening race here, the Daytona 225, and have a shot at possibly the money grab that's involved with the Mercer 100 races. Eric Brundy's will finish a fantastic second tonight. Chad Schilling with a 3rd. Matt Lacrosse 4th. Scott Stencil 5th. Jay Horton 6th. Thomas J. George would restart the last caution in the 7th spot, and he will finish 7th. Brandon Peterson will finish 8th. Jonathan Cadell Knight, and rounding out the top 10, Mike Montesi. And folks, that's how it's done. 1 lap to go. Under the green flag, Chad Cole putting on a show. When we return from a quick commercial break, we hope to have the top 3 and to see what they felt like tonight's race went in the Full Throttle Cup Series, sponsored by Gary Mercer Trucking. You're watching MW Productions. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Todd Malmstrom, driver of the 75M Ford Mustang GT. This is what I do by night. And this is what I do by day. I sell new Fords, and I've got the best selection of used inventory that you could ask for. Come see me down here at Section 4.
Are you tired of getting hassled at the dealerships? Looking for a salesman that knows what he's talking about? Are you looking to buy a new or used car? Then look no further! Sexton Ford Moline, Illinois has the biggest selection of new or pre-owned vehicles, and Todd Malmstrom is the salesman you want. Todd is an expert when it comes to cars, and if you don't believe me, then you should see him race on a Sunday night. With his top-notch professional customer service and expertise, he will make sure you go home in the right car for the right price. No hassle! No haggling! Todd will make sure that you're happy when you leave the lot with your new or pre-owned vehicle. Remember, Sexton Ford may be the talk of the town, but so is Todd Malmstrom. If you're in the market for a new ride, then buy one from a winner. Todd Malmstrom at Sexton Ford Moline.
And welcome back, where it took a few tries to do it, but we finally got it done. And we did it under the green flag condition, where Chad Cole wins the first race of the Full Throttle Cup Series 2013. Start of a nice, brand new, beautiful year in the Daytona 225. Standing by in the third place finisher, Chad Schilling, is standing with Jimmy North.
I'll tell you what, guys, I'm down here with Chad Schilling in the just crawling out of his 35 Carolina Panther machine. And Chad, man, if it wasn't for you pushing Chad Cole, I mean, he would have won that race. But you got kind of caught up in a little bit of a wreck there as you guys crossed the start-finish line. But good effort on your third place finish. What do you got to say?
Yeah, Jimmy, I tell you what, crawling out of that car upside down, I don't know if you guys saw the in-car of that, but that was a wild finish. Had a great push from my teammate Jay Horton at the end from #Motorsports, and caught me off of 4, almost got me a little too loose where we almost wrecked the whole field, and then I just had a huge head of steam coming into Cole and just gave it every I had and tried to go for the win and couldn't get around him, so I pushed him to the win. So I guess 2 Chads to the front's what the whole thought was. So.
Yeah, I was listening in on the radio, and especially yours, and man, you were pretty excited that last lap there, man, with the 1-lap shootout. That was pretty wild.
Yeah, it was a crazy one. Certainly, I was a little upset having to start on the outside lane, which hasn't been really good getting going here. And I just kind of decided I want to get on it, get down that low lane as soon as I possibly could. And then coming out of two, it looked like the one car hit the wall or somebody did. It freaked me out, so I dropped low real quick, which almost opened up the inside for I think it was Matt behind me. And thank God we were able to kind of get straightened out and move forward. But yeah, what a great finish! I hope the fans enjoyed that one, watching it on TV. And what a great race! That was fun.
Yeah, and definitely a good points night, or a good points day, I should say. And what's your prospects looking into Phoenix?
Yeah, Jimmy, I'm looking forward to Phoenix. Daytona, you never know what you're going to get, right, as a plate track, and certainly this pack racing like this, you got a 50-50 chance of getting wrecked out or making it to the end. So we're happy to have gotten to the end, finished third, which is a solid, great point start to the season. And I've always been very good at Phoenix, so I'm looking forward to it. I think it certainly separates the difference in drivers at that point, so we'll see how things kind of go, but I'm looking forward to it.
All right, man. You want to give a shout-out to any sponsors? Anybody out there watching, listening?
Yeah, thanks, Jimmy. Certainly to you guys. You guys do a great job on broadcasting. Certainly appreciate Gary Mercer Trucking for sponsoring the league and pushing us forward. And certainly all my teammates at Hashtag Motorsports, Jay Horton, Scott Brotherton, Adam Roberts, Nathan Bowers. We got a great team out there. It's just been a blast to work with. I'm looking forward to a great season with them.
All right, thank you for the interview there, Chad. And I believe Evan Pasocco has Eric Brundy's the second place finisher.
That's right. We're down here on the pit lane. We've caught up with the driver of that 94 machine, Eric Brundy's. Eric, you made your move going into turn number 3. Do you think that was the right decision?
I'm not sure it would have mattered. I originally was going to go in turn 3. Decided to go a little earlier. I was waiting on the 42 car to come up and give me a shove, but he and some other car got into it, kind of slowed his momentum. So I just decided to pull up and see what happened. Hopefully somebody behind me would go with me, and actually did have some help, but Chad got a bigger push down low, and that ended up being the difference.
Walk us through your mentality going into that final restart, knowing that you only had one lap to get it done, nothing more, nothing less, and you had to make it count, and you guys would barely be up to speed by the time you came to the checkered flag. Did you have any sort of strategy? What were you thinking there on that yellow flag? And then once you saw that the flag stand gave you the 2 to go, and then finally the 1 to go, and you knew it was going to be a one-lap shootout, what were you thinking?
Well, my goal was just to clear the car on the outside, and he had a little bit of a slow restart, so we got that accomplished, and then from there it was just, trying to make the right decision and pull out at the right time and get the right help, and thankfully we didn't get wrecked and still wound up second, so it was a good day.
And a long night out at the racetrack, 90 laps on the board for this evening's Daytona 225, and obviously kicking off this 2014 Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series campaign with the new points, knowing that you're going to need a win if you want to get locked into that chase and then finish top 30 in points to secure that, coming so close so early. Obviously it being Daytona, but what does a good start and a good finishing result to start off your season mean for you and that team?
It means a lot because I'm not a fan of these tracks. I'm a short track, intermediate track type of guy, so to get a second at Daytona was great. I finished 42nd last year, so this was definitely an improvement, and it's a little early to worry about points, but I mean, getting a win and locking us into the chase would have been nice, but there's still a long ways to go.
And then you talk about the short tracks and then the intermediate tracks, kind of a mix of both going into next week's race at the Phoenix International Raceway, which is the first race of the Full Throttle Cup Series, where we're going to have the new qualifying procedures and the first real race, you could say, because these Daytona races always a toss-up. How comfortable you are going into next week?
Oh, are we doing the group qualifying? I didn't even know. But yeah, it's Phoenix is. I'd have to say Phoenix is in my top 5 favorite tracks, so it's definitely a good track to be going to. And I think we qualified second last year and got caught up in a wreck, but yeah, definitely is one of my favorite tracks to go to, and I think Darlington's a few weeks after that, so I definitely got some good tracks coming up.
And definitely we taking a look at your 94 machine. Any sponsors and shout-outs that you want to throw out there? Who makes it happen and who gets that car to the racetrack?
Pennzoil is my sponsor, but I just want to thank John and Brennan and Nathan for sitting in the team channel with me throughout the race, so yeah.
And Italy 10-4, well, congratulations on a solid top 2 finish here at Daytona, and we look to see more from you at Phoenix.
All right, thanks.
That's going to do it down here from the pit lane with the driver finishing in the number 2 spot. Driver the 94, Eric Brundys, coming home with a solid finisher. And we've sent Keaton down there to victory lane. He is with Mr. Chad Cole.
Just getting sprayed with all the enjoyment down here, Chad. Congratulations, man. You're in it to win it. You did it. You secured your spot as long as you can hold on to 30th spot or better in the point standings at Daytona, the opening race of the Full Throttle Cup Series. Daytona 225. Man, exciting finish there at the end.
Yeah, I can't believe it. You know, these plate tracks never go well for me. I don't remember the last time I actually ever finished one. To get the win here, it's really awesome. I hate it for my teammates, CJ and CJ especially. I just wanted the top 3 for us, and he had a little contact coming out of 2 there, and kind of got sent to the back. We really worked well. We had some pit stops and really separated ourselves from the rest of the field, and that was really the difference. We never looked back from there.
You know, Chad, one thing we talked about when the caution started to breed cautions there towards the end, we had to try about 5 or 6 different times before obviously we could get that one last green flag run in. But when you're coming to the line there, and the guys up there about 60 feet up ahead of you is showing the 1 to go signal, okay, and the lights come off on the pace car, what's going through your mind? I know you got your teammate there, CJ Lavera, but in the back of your mind, you got to think that Eric's hungry, Chad's hungry. You know, Stencil was up there, he's hungry. Lacrosse, you know, what's going through your mind when you find out, oh gosh, we got to go back green, and this time it ain't going to end under caution?
Yeah, really, pretty much everything's running through your head. You don't know if Eric's going to stay in line there and pull out when he's going to pull out, and or if Matt and CJ were really going to get hooked up there. But just you know, you never stop running through every single possibility going through your head on those last laps, and it's kind of hoping that we get more green there and kind of settle it between the 3 teammates there. But it's just unfortunate we had too many cautions there at the end, but it all worked out. I still can't believe I got to win at Daytona here.
Chad, race 2 next week, the 3rd of March. 125 laps under the desert sun at Phoenix, the Phoenix 200K. Talk to us about that, and of course, throw out anybody you'd like to thank for tonight's event.
Yeah, Phoenix. In the fall, it was good to me. I ran really well there, but I haven't raced the A car at all during the winter. Just pretty much doing the Icebreaker series in the B car, and that really hurt me last year. So I'm kind of expecting the same winter. It's kind of a time for me to take a break. So I did the same thing this year, and I don't know. I think I'd be happy with the top 5. It's a fun track for me. Really enjoy Phoenix a lot. It's good. Provides a good show, actually. Surprisingly, you wouldn't think it being a 1 mile flat track, but puts on a pretty good racing show. First of all, I need to thank Chad Schilling. That guy came out of nowhere, coming to the checker. He just gave me a shot from hell, and Eric Brunies was right there. I saw him creeping up on my right side, and Chad Schilling just gave me a shot, and I was able to hold him off there. So thanks to him. Need to thank Hippie's Paint Shop. You can find Hippie on Facebook.com/Hippie's Paint Shop. He does all my paint work for me. And Gary Mercer Trucking, of course, for coming on, sponsoring the Full Throttle Cup Series this year. Of course, you folks at MW Productions for broadcasting it.
Absolutely, and there you have it, folks. The man who wins the first event in the Full Throttle Cup Series will go home a happy winner tonight, as well as winning the first race and being in it. As long as he finishes into the top 30 in points, he will have a chance and a shot at winning some bonus money if he can claim one more win before the 22nd mark of the year. And with that said, me, Michael Keaton, Evan Pasoko, Jimmy North, the interviewer down on pit road, and of course, Michael Woolley pushing the buttons for us at MW Productions. We had a great night here at Daytona, the opening race of a great 2014 season that's been started by a winner, Chad Cole, who's won in the past and could win in the future. We'll see you next Monday night, live at Phoenix, Arizona. Bring the suntan lotion and bring the water, because it's going to be a hot one. We'll see you.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks in terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. Started years ago. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood, it's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.
DGVertec.net's primary goal is to provide you with a successful website presence. They have purpose-built their web servers successfully throughout the years. The stress testing has been done so that they can provide you with an enhanced web hosting technology that they design for using future standards today for tomorrow. They offer 24/7 support for all web hosting plans. Their team answers support tickets 24/7, so if you have a problem at any time, an agent will be more than happy to help you. If you're not satisfied with your service within 7 days, then you can get a full money back guarantee, with a 99 uptime guaranteed as well, with plans for shared hosting starting at just $2.95. It's clear to see why DGVertec should be your choice for web hosting. Just go to www.dgvertec.net today, your web hosting solution. Tech.net today, your web hosting solution.